Are you not too tired?
I am tired.
You are.
I don't care.
Where were you last night? Paris?
Denmark.
Denmark? Okay.
And we had a show in Denmark, and then we flew here this morning. Yesterday morning.
Yeah?
Yes, 2 days ago we were in Paris. I don't know. I can't remember. All I know is that we've been to a lot of places doing a lot of shows.
Yeah. So what do you remember in those cases, like the movie that you watch and the stuff that you...
The thing I like the most about traveling is the, I guess, the cocoon that you build for yourself when you're on your laptop, or like I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like, I can read them on Kindles and stuff, but I started listening to a lot of like books.
And do you feel like you're living the life of the rock and roll?
Yeah, but without the drugs.
Is it still going on? Because I feel that, you know, especially for you who had like a Europe culture, when you are in this US game, I feel that everything is like clean and fresh and...
Well, I think it's interesting because I am from the UK, so I have a specific culture, you know, like...
Like you say culture.
Yeah, like our accent, you know, I grew up in an estate, so we had a lot of like UK grime music.
Yeah.
And
some people think I'm bonkers, but I just think I'm free. And I'm just living my life, there's nothing crazy about me.
All of that was always really popular, and we had like UK garage. I was a part of a generation that had a lot of, our tempo was always like, it was like, it's almost like house, but like light house, not like deep house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
mixed with the Nigerian influences and the Jamaican influences.
Yeah.
Baby, come close.
To mix up in drama, to go outside. To mix up in drama, to free my mind.
Because you know, I grew up in West London in Carnival, so every year it was like Carnival season. But yeah, I kind of really haven't had the chance, I don't think yet, because I had a lot of complications with this second album. But now, when it comes out, I've really now had the chance to experiment with music that I think people don't really think that I know. You know what I'm saying? Because I am a pop star. I love doing pop music.
Yeah.
I love pop music. But I like to also infuse a lot of my kind of inspirations, but also things that I listen to. Like I love Nigerian music, and I love African beat pop music, and I also love like, you know, like Mr. Easy and...
Hold my hand, baby girl, hold my hand. When she hits the fan, will you be my ride or die?
I think that people don't know that I listen to everything.
Yeah, because I feel like the new US pop stars like Drake and even like Rihanna are getting those vibes.
We just need to slow the motion. Don't get out of the way to no one. Long distance, I need you.
They're going to Europe to take the vibes and the vibes from Africa.
Correct.
And you were born in those vibes.
I think it was amazing. Like when I heard Drake's album More Life, and I was listening, and I heard like gigs on there.
Okay. Demon just got out of can. I gave my bro an advance. Love is just not in my plan.
Gigs, like I've known about him since I was like, I can remember, just from here, just from the streets of London. Do you know what I mean? So it's lovely to see our, I would say, like culture, I guess, being adapted to different worlds. It's like a compliment, right?
But how do you feel like with the story that you have? You know, I was watching your videos, and I didn't know your story, and I was like, her story is more crazy than any video that you can make. Like you were born in Kosovo, then you went to England.
Yeah.
You've been in family, like in a Muslim family.
Yeah.
After you took acting lessons.
Yeah.
That's a crazy mix to have all this background and being right now in the pop star world.
Well, I started music in London, and I joined a choir when I was 6 years old. But yeah, we refuged from Kosovo, Pristina, when the war was kind of like happening, and my father and my mother kind of immigrated to London. I guess I just was raised as a British girl for my whole life, so, you know, growing up was crazy, for sure. But the good thing about London is that there's so many different ethnicities, you know, so many different people from so many different countries. So like music was just flowing, and my dad is such a fan of, you know, Motown and soul music, and I always had it in the house. Like he collected a lot of vinyls, and you know, my mum was all about the Bee Gees and like ABBA, and you know, so it was like a balance of a lot of music just in the house.
But ABBA are the greatest.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, compared to my dad, he was like B.B. King.
The thrill is gone away for good.
He was like all about jazz and smoke and Janis Joplin. Summertime. Stevie Nicks, and my mum was all about like the Bee Gees and like ABBA and like everything that is so opposite to like that.
How deep is your love? Is your love? How deep is your love? I really need to learn.
I was like in the middle of just so much music. My mum is like, if I can't have you,
I don't want nobody, baby. If I can't have you,
and my dad is like, you know.
My loved ones, today is the birthplace of forever.
Do you remember the first song you were always singing as a kid?
I think it was something like the Spice Girls.
I wanna really wanna zig a zig.
But you know what? When I discovered music like on my own, you know, it was all about like No Doubt. I was like a big No Doubt person.
So please stop explaining. Don't tell me 'cause it hurts.
And I loved her, and I loved Gwen, and I loved the band, and it was like the first time I saw my version of, I guess, like punk, you know? And then I was, because, you know, I'm 26, so I was kind of, when they were like 19, I think it was 1997 or 6, when they were like, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl. What's my destiny? What I've succumbed to is making me numb.
I was like, wow, she's so cool and free. And that's when my whole kind of obsession with learning about punk music started.
But right now you're 26?
Yeah.
Now, is it true that your first boyfriend was 26?
My first ever boyfriend, I was 16 and he was 23 or something like that. Close. Yeah, he was older than me.
Really older?
Yeah, that's not that bad. 16, 17, 18, 19, 7 years. Now, if I'm 26 and I dated someone 7 years older than me, that would be fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know, so I don't know. I'm mature though for my age. I've always felt that.
But the crazy stuff with you is like you're 26 and you feel like you lived like so many lives.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you manage this?
I don't know. I think I just keep working. I always just keep kind of like...
Yeah. So you never watched behind you?
No, I don't. I used to, but I don't do that anymore. And I think my friends are like, hello, remember us? And I'm like, yeah, I really... But my real friends are the ones that are like, you know, I just keep going. I just work a lot and... I don't know, I never want to stop. I love working though, I really do.
But what's your definition of working?
Not sleeping. I mean, like doing loads of interviews and doing 2 shows in 2 different cities and being jet lagged. Yeah, all of that stuff. Yeah, you don't really get a lot of social time because you're so tired. When you want to go downstairs and have a drink, you're like, 1 drink.
How can you live a life everybody knows what you do? With the social media, every time you go, even in holidays, we can see pictures of you in holidays, and people are doing articles on you on holidays. If you're gonna eat an ice cream, it's gonna be, she ate this ice cream. How can you live this life?
When people ask me things like that, I just think to myself, like, what do I want to remember when I get older, you know? I'm like, I really just want to remember the shows. I want to remember the fans. I want to remember, like, the memories of being on the road and like pranking my band and like, you know, scaring the shit out of each other and like just fun things that you remember for yourself. I never really think about like, I guess for fame, I think is the word that we're looking for, because you can't prepare for it. That's the one thing, and I don't complain. Like, I'm not a complainer. Never complain, never explain.
And never surrender.
Yeah. But if you complain, you're gonna have to start talking about why you're complaining, you know what I mean? If you can kind of just keep your head down and focus on the right things and pick where you wanna go and who you wanna be seen with, and I don't know, things like that. It's tricky, but it's doable.
I have a tricky question. You know, right now in France,
Yes.
we had like a lot of issues and in the newspaper and the politics.
And your new president?
Yeah, we have a new president.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about the refugee, the refugees crisis. And you are a refugee. You were a refugee. Can you say something about this crisis? What do you think about those people right now that nobody wants to help?
I've done a lot of work in that department. Me and UNICEF and my team, we've raised over £1 million for immigrants and refugees from all over the world. So I guess for me, it's such a personal thing because I am one. You know, I came from a war zone into a better life, and I don't think that I'd be doing what I'm doing now if I didn't live in the UK, you know? And now I'm living with my life and my dream, and I feel like I represent the UK because that's where I was, you know, raised since I was one. Really, everyone that you watch on TV and everything that you see entertaining you are usually people that aren't from your country. People in movies, actors, if you look up all of their kind of history, the majority of them are not like pure, I don't know, wherever, Americans or things like that, but everyone's in your TV screens, you know? So I'm a big believer in giving people chances and giving people a way to live a really nice life and positive life, because I was lucky to do that with my family.
I feel that we are not moving forward with those stuff. Like when I was a kid, I was saying to myself, okay, we're gonna be all different colors, all friends.
We're gonna be flying.
Yeah, no, we got the flying cars, no matter what. And I think that we're going back in history right now.
I agree with you. I think it's a very serious time in the world. I think, not only in France, but also all over the place. We need to really stick together more than ever. I think, I've seen my fellow musicians in the industry, and I see them really supporting each other, and we have to be able to use our voices. And I think that we, as, known people on the social medias, on the internet, we have a following. I think we really need to kind of not be afraid to use our voices and support each other and stick together, even in schools, It's the young generation that I care about, because they're going to be like growing into the world that I guess we set for them. So it's very important that we find a base of solidarity and sincerity, because it's scary and sad.
You say something really true, because I feel that the new generation doesn't believe in politics anymore, but they are watching the social medias and people like you. And your voice is more important right now. Like I've seen it when you go to Dallas to help the homeless people, you make the world talk about it.
Well, I went there because obviously I was out there doing a show, and I had to help. It's in my morals, it's how I've been raised, and it was something that I did for my tower that happened in the tragedy in the UK, the Grenfell Tower.
Une tour de 24 étages, en proie aux flammes. Le travail des 200 pompiers semble dérisoire face à la violence de l'incendie.
Yeah, I guess it did attract a lot of attention, because I think I was kind of the only one really there. All my friends, and they all donated so much money, and I did too, but I also wanted to physically kind of see the victims and people helping, and I just went there, and it was amazing. I felt like there was hope in the world because they were helping each other, but I don't know, it's tricky, it's hard. I don't know, I think about it all the time. I definitely think about it a lot. But also we have an advantage. We have the control of the internet. We can put out videos, we can put out things, we can say how we feel, we can post pictures. we have that at least. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, that's a good tool to use.
Is that why you don't want to hear sad songs anymore?
Exactly. I don't want to hear sad songs anymore. I only want to hear love songs. That is a lyric in my song, in case nobody knew. It's called Your Song.
I don't wanna hear sad songs anymore. I only wanna hear love songs. I found my heart up in this place tonight.
How was it with Ed Sheeran?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like working with my best friend. I had my no pressure. I was in the studio. It was me, Ed Sheeran, Steve Mack. We were in there for 2 hours. I sang I re-sang some things. Ed sang some things and played the guitar. And then we went to the pub, had a drink.
That's it.
Ate a burger. Yeah, and then went to watch a show in Coco Camden. It was so fun. Yeah, it was easy. I love making music like that.
'Cause your songs got me feeling like I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love. I'm in love, I'm in love, I'm in love.
I think that this experience with this second album that I've had has been like a reinvention of me as a human being. Like I was able to really just make an album. I've never made an album like this, you know, where you have no pressure. I just invited my friends. I worked with who I wanted to. I had all the support I needed with my label and my family, and it was just kind of like the best place to be in to just make real music.
But I felt like when you were working with Jay-Z's label, I remember you this time you came in Cannes in Le Grand Journal.
Yeah.
'Cause when the sun sets, baby, on the avenue, I get that drunk sex feeling, yeah, when I'm with
I was like, this girl really rocks, but she's something else. And I felt it. I was like, she's an European girl in an American machine. Mm-hmm. And I feel that it's over right now for you, this kind of attitude.
Thank you. Well, I guess everyone lives and learns and you grow, you know. As an artist, I think the best example I could give you is Pink. You know, when she first came out, she was cool and like, there you go. And she was like, for me, was like an R&B queen. And now she's like she's a rock and roll legend. And I love her because she's such a big inspiration to me because she took the bull by the horns and just made the music she wanted to make. And I can admire that for the rest of my life. So I think you also have to learn about yourself. Like when you first saw me, I was still learning a lot about myself. You know what I mean? And
and you were young, and
yeah, and
I guess like when you're 20, 21, and Jay-Z says you're gonna be in my label, it's like.
Yeah, and he's one of my idols, and his wife is like the queen of the world for me. So like having Beyonce and Jay-Z in front of you, I was like, yay! But they ended up really teaching me so much, and I'm so grateful that they gave me the opportunity, Jay, to, I think, become a singer. And without them, I wouldn't be here today. And they opened the door for me for a lot of things.
How is it the first time that you see Jay-Z in front of you?
Oh my gosh, I was like... But I think that we clicked because we're both Sagittariuses. And he was like he's a rock star, he's a superstar. So like, he just like walks in the room and it's like, hey, and he's so calm. And I was like shivering when I first met him and like, but now I just respect him, you know, and I think that the feeling is mutual and I will always admire how he works, how his brain works.
I'm a hustler, homie. You a customer crony. Got some dirt on my shoulder. Could you brush it up for me? Yeah, feeling like a pimp. Yeah, nigga.
How he is as a musician and a businessman.
And that's really clever from you because all the time, like people have beef in the industry, they're saying shit about each other.
Not me, mate. Nah, never me. I would never do that to somebody that gave me a hand into the world of music, you know? And I think that the feeling, again, is mutual and everything happens for a reason, you know? And right now I'm in such a great place musically and I have my single out and I'm about to put my album out and we're gonna go on tour. It's like, I'm like living my life. Yeah.
So this is rock and roll life without the drug and the sex.
Yeah, I don't know about the second one, but the first one for sure. I'm joking. Yeah, no, it's definitely a rock and roll life.
Yeah, and the audiobooks.
And my audiobooks, yes.
A girl who's reading is the most sexiest thing you can.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
What if I was like, don't talk to me, I'm reading, in the interview?
This is really more sexy than a lap dance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good, because I don't know how good I am at the lap dance.
What is the next goal for you? What do you want to do? Because I saw that you were doing TV right now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working on movies, stuff like this? Because when we watch your life, we want to see the movie.
I know, yeah. Well, my first thing that I want to do, obviously I've done a few movies. I've done some TV shows, you know, like The X Factor. I don't cry a lot, and I don't care if everyone on TV sees me crying, but that was so good. I'm so happy for you. The Voice and America's Next Top Model, and now I just finished this other show in the US called Boy Band.
With Nick Carter, Emma Bunton, Timbaland, and host Rita Ora.
I got into TV because, again, musically I was at a halt, and now I'm not. So my goal really is to just put my album out, which is my main focus of the year, and that's what we're going to do. I'm putting my album out, go on tour, come back here, perform, and you guys are all coming.
We'll be there.
And just see the world, you know. But I really do love television. I love TV shows. I really want to get behind the scenes and executive produce this. A few ideas that I've had in the works, and so there's a lot of plans happening.
Because you have a reputation, and maybe Jay-Z learned you this, you have the reputation to be the girls who know the most how to get the good cash.
Thank you very much.
That's your reputation. I'm telling you.
Well,
there is something worth.
Yeah. Well, I definitely love business. I can tell you that much. I like to be an instigator, you know? I like to instigate things and be proactive and have the ability to, I don't know, be 26 and be able to make decisions that could last a lifetime. I want to be like, you know, I used to, when I was younger and I was in school, I would always look at the Forbes list. I was like, who made this? Who made that? What would that be? And like, yeah, so I guess Jay, yeah, he's definitely taught me that side of things for sure.
What is the smartest move that you think you've made in business in your life?
Not to move too quickly and not to decide on the spot and to wait. That is always important. Wait, have patience and like relax.
And never talk the first.
And never talk, exactly. Did you watch the Dre and Jimmy Iovine documentary?
Yeah.
Jimmy Iovine is the levitator. Dre is the innovator.
I need something a little bit more impressive.
It was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Extraordinary.
The Defiant ones. I always that inspired me so much. I was watching it and I was like, you know, it was a great documentary. Yeah.
But what more can you do in terms of business after what Dr. Dre did?
There's a lot to do. There's always something to do. There's always something else to do.
Are you thinking to a lot of moves and putting monies in new industries?
Well, yeah, do you know what? I've always ever wanted to get involved in something that I believed in. You know, like we have a makeup line with Rimmel, and I've done over 15 collections with Adidas Originals. And, you know, done the movies, and we've been in the soundtracks, put out the music, done all the TV shows, and now, you know, I really want to just venture out into doing things that mean something to my generation, you know, that represent where I grew up and that have a meaning, you know, and that can represent the UK and the culture that I grew up in.
Where do you want to live?
Live?
Yeah, if you have like 6 months doing nothing.
I don't know.
In the US or in the UK?
In the countryside, I think.
Yeah?
In the UK, just out of London, I don't know, like in Cotswolds or like Gloucestershire or somewhere like where it's all old people.
How does it feel for you when you're going back to the UK and trying to hang out there? Is it like before or everything's changed?
No, it's a little bit's changed, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of cameras now that follow you around, but I kind of try to keep it the same. My friends are still there. My best friends that I've known since I was like 1, you know, and we just go to places where I don't think people expect. Like we go to the pub and we do normal things. I'm like a guy's girl, do you know what I mean? Like I like to do normal like guy things.
And you're collecting sneakers?
So your total will be $2,259 and 16 cents.
Thank you. And I collect sneakers.
Like a guy?
Exactly. I collect a lot of sneakers. I like trainers.
What's your favorite one?
Well, I've been now working with Adidas for about 3 to 4 years. Well, I was, so I really love, the classic like Gazelles and the Z100s, and I like Huaraches from Nike. I love Air Maxes. I like the Jordans, but like number 5s. I have the number 2s. Number 1, I kind of didn't like because I found them a bit too manly, but I started to. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, huh?
Of course, a girl who's reading book and loving URH and Jordan 5, you ask her in marriage.
Yeah, I do all that type of stuff. I like fashion, so I collect. But sneakers was the first thing that I became obsessed with.
Because people never understand when you get obsessed by sneakers. I have the same problem.
I know, they don't understand. I think it's only about, like, if you get it, you get it.
Yeah.
There's no point of trying to explain.
People are telling you stuff like, you have to grow up, it's sneakers.
No, it's not that. It's more than that. It's like the culture of the sneaker. It's like the story behind the shoe. Guys. Yeah, I did. I remember I was working in a sneaker shop, sorry, and it was called Size
in London.
Yeah, in Portobello, and I loved my job because I was working with my best friend, but it was so early I would hate it. And then a few years later, I went back in, and it was amazing because I saw my shoe on the shelf, and I was like, wow. The world really does come around full circle. I used to wipe the dust on that shelf, and now my shoe is on the shelf. Ain't that crazy? I was like, whoa, that is sick. And yeah, it was a good feeling for sure. So yeah.
But when you see your shoe on Size is an institution in London.
Yeah, it is. I think it just closed down though.
Really?
I
was there like 1 month ago.
Yeah. Well, the one in Portobello did. I don't think they all closed down. Where I worked, it closed down.
Oh.
I know.
But you should buy them.
Right? No.
This is the next step. After you see your shoes, you buy them.
Yeah, you've got to think about the market. It's all about the market.
Last question, what is the greatest lesson that Jay and Beyoncé told you? Or didn't told you, but that you learned?
Well, I don't think they even noticed, but I learned from everything that they do. Like, I just watched them, watched them work, how their work ethic is. And I remember being so lucky to, witness Beyonce in her, element. And she would, edit a music video and go to the studio and, be a mother and, be in the office 24 hours, past midnight. And, I would be like, have you eaten? And she's like, I'm working, work mode. And I just would look at her and be like, wow, she really is a superhero. And on top of me being the biggest fan of all time, she's so cool. She's the coolest chick and works her ass off. And so that's my goal, to just have that same work ethic.
But you already are the coolest chick, I'm telling you.
Thank you. Well, I learned, exactly, there we go. I learned that from B, and I learned that from my mum. She's cool. My mum is so fun, crazy fun. My dad works really hard, and yeah. So I think my parents are also big inspirations. They teach me a lot.
This show is called Clique. What's your definition of a clique?
This show is called Clique, and the definition of clique is the click of a camera.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So nice.
It was a pleasure.